We have the fourth highest rate of lead poisoning in Pennsylvania, according to the Department of Health. And lead paint is the #1 culprit of lead poisoning in children. Lead poisoning can result in serious and lifelong health and developmental issues, including lower IQ, slow growth, learning problems, behavioral issues, hyperactivity, and hearing and speech development problems. It also affects pregnant women, causing problems such as low birth weight, premature birth, damage to the baby's brain, kidneys, and nervous system, and even miscarriage. And while lead poisoning is not reversible, it is preventable. Knowing a child's lead level can help prevent it from rising and can protect other children and pregnant people from being poisoned in a lead hazard home. So removing lead from homes leads to positive impacts for children, families, and the community, including improved academic outcomes, lower educational costs, greater lifetime earning potential, and reduced risk of criminal behavior. In fact, for every dollar that we spend on lead abatement, $17 to $200 returns back to society. So this bill is not just a lead testing bill. It's a bill that is, you could call it an early education preparedness bill. It's a juvenile delinquency prevention bill. Ultimately, it's an incarceration prevention bill for adults. The Lead-Free Promise Project brings together healthcare providers, municipalities, advocacy organizations, public health entities, health plans, the Department of Health, along with affected families to try to end the scourge of lead poisoning. This bill will help uncover the true extent of the problem, bring it out into the open, so we can begin the process of protecting our children and their future. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Martin. Our next speaker is Ruth Ann Gordon. Ruth Ann is the president and CEO of the Green and Healthy Homes Initiative. She's a national leader in healthy housing and is the architect for the 99.6% reduction in childhood lead poisoning in Maryland. Ruth Ann has spent decades advancing policies and partnerships to eliminate childhood lead poisoning and
These kind of programs are fundamental in our own state where I live, in Baltimore, where we've lowered lead poisoning by 99.6%. It is built on universal testing of 2 tests for children by the age of 2. So I want to just thank the partners here, but really call on this legislative body to do the right thing, to think with common sense and a moral compass for the future of Pennsylvania's children.
my colleagues in the General Assembly, we must treat this issue with the severity that it deserves. We must act now to move this legislation and ensure our children have the best chance at a healthy future. And to everyone here today, your advocacy gives families hope and pushes all of us to do better for our kids. We must continue to bring awareness to this issue and do all we can to give our kids the best start. Thank you.
Yes, we applaud Representative Labs, and please join me in giving a final round of applause to all of our speakers. So, throughout the day, we've elevated one important message that's urgent. Pennsylvania must adopt legislation by joining Representative Labs' co-sponsorship memo that ensures every child is tested twice before the age of 2. What is it? 2 before 2. That's right. This is simple, and it's a life-saving measure that will close dangerous gaps in our current system and help identify children at risk before the damage is permanent. With over 70% of Pennsylvania homes built before the 1978 lead paint ban, and with our state ranking second in the nation for the number of children tested positive for lead, we can no longer afford to wait. We are calling on our members of the General Assembly to take decisive action, co-sponsor and pass legislation that guarantees 2 lead tests for all children before the age of 2. Thank you to everyone